Hey there, welcome to The Night is Dark, the Game of Thrones podcast. It is Ladies' Night. We are your sandstorm,
Snakes.
Sandsnake
Storm.
Stormborn. We're just like an amalgamation of all of those put together.
Hi, it's Memorial Day. We've been drinking.
Woohoo! Ken is out for the holiday, so we've got the lovely Michele Boyd back in, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. Bringing insight into the last episode as well, and everyone loved having you on board, so we're glad that you're back.
Yay!
This is a very interactive show if you are watching live. Thank you so much. You can click a follow button there. We're all on Twitter as well, at Maude Garrett, at Michele Boyd, at Tiffany's Tweets. Use that hashtag, The Night is Dark. We don't only have this podcast live, we also have it on video on Geek Bombs YouTube. Just look up youtube.com/Geek Bombshells, and it's also you've got your own little videos too.
Yeah, if you guys want to check out, which we didn't do last week but we'll do this week, Tiffany Smith, my YouTube page, we have bonus videos and full of terrors. We do favorite quotes. What else have we done? Biggest game changers, best character arcs. I haven't decided what we're doing this week. We'll see what we talk about on the show tonight. And then if you guys just want to listen to the audio, obviously you can check that out on Ken's Twitter, the Napzok files. Check out all the audio for that, however you want to listen.
It'll
while
be
you're
on
driving.
Stitcher, Podomatic, or iTunes. Rate and review for that one on his behalf.
Yeah,
Please.
you guys have been kicking butt on those, so thank you for that.
Now this episode 7 we're up to now, it's called The Gift. What was the gift? Well, apparently a backhanded insult to Cersei and her whole existence, which is pretty cool. But I did notice that the first half of this episode was...
There were a lot of gifts.
So many gifts.
Yeah, I want the gifts to turn into gifts.
From everyone. So many gifts.
Or gifs.
GIFs. I refuse to say GIFs now.
My favourite gift were titties, but let's talk about that later. Right at the start, they were so pretty, man. They were so pretty. The first half of the episode, I've noticed that when they go back and forth in the north, where they're going from the wall to Winterfell to the wall again, it's so dark and dreary, and that's what the top of the episode was like. We kicked things off on the wall. We saw snow for all of maybe 4 seconds before he buggered off, which was a bit sad.
It was so sweet, though, that Sam gave him the knife where he's like, it's the dragon glass knife that I used. You should take it with you. And he was like, okay. Because he doesn't know what he's going to get into out there.
But I hope you don't have to use it.
Yeah.
I think if anyone in this whole entire series needs it more than ever right now, it's Jon Snow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, everything that happened on the wall this episode, there was so much that happened, especially for Sam. Because it's not only that Jon's leaving, because Jon's been the one who trained him. Jon was his protector the whole time. And then Aemon.
Yes.
That was so heartbreaking. And we've talked about, I thought maybe we'll do favorite deaths because we haven't done that yet. But this was one of the most sweet, heart-wrenching,
poignant,
carefully done death scenes that we've had.
Has anyone died a natural death yet?
And had like a nice funeral? No.
Yeah.
Not really. It was very touching for the whole thing. And I have to say, with Alistair Thorne talking to Sam, I couldn't quite figure out if that was a threat or a warning. Like, how was him saying, you're losing all your friends?
Yeah,
that was a threat.
I don't know. I mean, I've watched it a couple times now, and I almost want to say it was a warning, like with Master Aemon saying, get south while you can. I felt like Alistair was kind of echoing that and saying, get the hell out of here.
I think it felt like a little bit of both. Because for me, it's like, if Sam really steps up, and I mean, in the instance of this episode, he does to the best of his ability. If he continues to do that, then I think he's okay. But if he reverts back to the old Sam that's like a wimpy crybaby who can't do anything, then we might be in trouble. And I loved the fact that it's like, it's not just that dagger that gave him the power or gave him the confidence, because Ghost shows up. So all of his friends are not gone.
Why is Ghost not with Jon?
That was a little naff. Sorry.
That was weird.
Ghost comes and saves the day. I'm like, I know that Sam has killed White Walker and he killed that other thing, and yeah, good on him, but it was by accident. This is the first time I really saw him start to fight back. And then Ghost was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to do anything again.
It wasn't by accident. He didn't know that the knife would work, but he was there and did it.
Yeah, but
you can't accidentally stab something.
Watch me. If anyone could at this table.
He definitely tried, but I mean, they even said Sam is not a fighter. He's just not. I mean, no matter how much spirit you have, I'm sorry, it's just not going to hold up against the entire Night's Watch who want to sit there and rape Gilly.
But it's not. I don't even think it's not that everyone's against him or everyone doesn't support him. It's a small group. And I think that that's where he's starting to realize, okay, who are the ones that are on my side? Who are the ones that I can get to listen? Because he is in Aemon's position now. He is that role.
And back in the conversation with Alistair Thorne, like whether that was a threat or a warning, the reason why I still think it's a threat is because this happened as soon as Jon left. So Thorne is the acting Lord Commander, and they feel like with him in charge, they're able to do these kind of things. They're able to try their move on Gilly. But Snow wouldn't stand for that, which is why it didn't happen before. And I think Alistair's like, you know what? Watch your girl. Watch you, because you know what? I can't help what happens.
You're all alone now.
Yeah, I think it's completely a threat. I'd love to hear from you guys as well. We've got the chat happening. Do you think that Thorne was saying to Sam, you know what, you want to look after yourself here? Or is he like, you count your days? I'd love to know. Winterfell, though, going back from Sansa's night, we've noticed that it's not just one night, it's every night. And she's covered in bruises.
This episode as well, there were 2 moments where I was like, how time is passing so strangely.
So strangely.
Because it was where she talks about every night this is happening. And then later on, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but when we get to see Cersei's daughter, and she says, I've been gone for years. And I'm like, what? It's been years
since she got sent over to Dorne.
Yeah, so I'm like,
I feel like that just happened last season, right?
It did. So that's where I'm like,
and then the inconsistencies.
And meanwhile, didn't Gilly have her baby last season, and yet he's still sitting there in swaddling clothes?
Yeah.
I'm like, you haven't grown up at all. And meanwhile, Marcella's out there getting busy with Trystane. All right,
then you've got Jorah and Tyrion going away for episodes.
Yeah,
and Littlefinger, he gets to King's Landing in 2.
Yeah,
it's like, where is distance? What's happening here?
Yeah. The time frame. If I wish that we used the family tree tonight while we were watching the episode, but I'm like, is there someone that's doing it? Hey, this is the time frame, the timeline for everyone and where they are and what's happening, because it's really confusing a little bit. But anyway, going back, sorry, I derailed us for a second.
No, it's fair though.
But the stuff at Winterfell with Sansa, that's one where she's not getting empty threats. Those threats are for real.
Yep.
And I want to say that this episode for me, yes, she's been through a lot, so I feel like it's easy for her to want to revert back to that old character who she was. She's one of the characters that I think has had the best character arc, but it kind of frustrated me because I was like, I know that it's a terrible situation that she's in, but I'm like, don't go all weepy again. Like, just don't do that.
Well, she was fighting back in a way where she's like, I'm locked in a room. Theon, that's not Melisandre Rick.
Yeah.
No, it's Theon. This is your past. This is who it was. You owe me.
Yep.
You've destroyed what I stand for.
Yeah.
You are a lord in your own right. I need you to step up right now and grow a set, because you've obviously lost them in every sense of the word and way.
Get your shit together and help me.
And you can kind of see that he wanted to. He said, promised it, and then immediately betrayed her, which was so heartbreaking.
Well, he didn't promise it. He says nothing.
He nodded.
He definitely nodded. But I also, to be fair, as much as I love Sansa's character arc, and I'm so happy that they're doing that in the show, I also kind of feel like it's a little bit naive. And I feel like, when she said, it can't get any worse, and he just like, oh yes, I'm like, oh yes, you sweet summer child, you have no idea how much worse it can actually get for you. Like, you don't know what Reek and Theon have gone through. So
she tries to ask him. She says, what did he do to you?
He can't. But she has no idea until she sees that northern woman, and then I think she finally kind of starts to get it of just how bad.
And that was her
is.
glimmer of hope that was just laying skinless.
It was also weird because I didn't realize, how did Theon know who, or Reek know who was helping her?
The woman.
Because did she...
I've got friends of the North.
But she never said like, oh, is that one lady who came in and when I first got here?
I think he just figured it out. I think that we're not giving Ramsay enough credit for being, kind of having little spies everywhere. And just, I'm sure he has his own little birds, his own little whisperers around the castle, and knows who is saying what.
Billa is saying, you guys, you have to remember that Theon is gone. It is Reek only. Billa, sorry, not sure, lost hope in the character completely.
I think that there's moments where he's like, maybe, and then he realizes, I think every time he gets near Ramsay and realizes that Ramsay is still the guy who's done all these terrible things to him and he's not going to change, which I've realized this as well too, you guys. I know a couple weeks ago I said maybe there was a moment of hope for him. I will eat my words, because he just keeps getting worse.
Oh, Ramsay?
Yeah, Ramsay just keeps getting worse.
Matt Brown saying there's no retribution for Theon. What's his end game? Where does his character go?
He just wants to survive.
He does. I think for Ramsay, not for Ramsay, for Theon, I think you can't plan anything against Ramsay. You can't. There's going to be way too many ways that it can get screwed up, and there's going to be way too many ways that he can kind of figure it out ahead of time. I think if there's going to be any kind of really retribution for him or Sansa, it's got to be this moment of passion, just this snap where they just kind of just say fuck it and just go to town on him, because stuff like this is there's too many ways for it to go wrong.
I agree with you in a way where I think a lot of us are waiting for Reek to hit a point where he will fight back, which was supposed to happen this episode, which was supposed to happen last episode.
I think, more than anything.
And like
stab him in the back at that, and then it just didn't happen.
We keep wanting to see him, this retribution that is being mentioned here.
I think that depending on when Stannis gets there, and if they see that there are people coming, because at this point, even if Reek did anything and really was true to him being Theon and true to the Stark family, what are they going to do? It's the two of them.
Yeah. And we were talking about this earlier with Sansa doesn't know that Brienne is out there. Yeah. All the Northerners said was, you have friends. For all Sansa knows, that just means her in this castle. She doesn't know that there's, a full-fledged knight and a squire out there waiting to rescue her.
And that was that near miss that we've had a couple of times with Brienne's character, where she's out there waiting, looking at the open window, going, light it. Whenever you do that, as soon as you do, I will come for you. Yeah. And it's Ramsay's office. Oh. Yeah. It kills me.
Yeah.
How much do you think that this was Ramsay trying to get back at Sansa for her schooling him about his lineage?
Well, it was already planned before that. He'd already invited her out. He was like, come meet me.
Oh, true.
And then she starts talking about the lineage stuff. Because I think, and as I said, yes, her character kind of seemed to revert back a little bit. But the beginning of this episode, when she says the stuff to Theon, where she's like, you are, what does she say? Even though you're scared, you are lord of the Iron Islands, and promise me you'll help, where she stands up a little bit. And that scene where she's like trying to remind him of, you're a bastard. And so is Tommen. And all of these things. And then it's like, oh, hold on. Let me just show you that I'm still holding all the cards.
It's kind of nice that she's at least kind of taking some of Littlefinger's teaching, I think, and just kind of like twisting the knife a little bit into Ramsay to kind of turn him against, hey, don't pay attention to me. Pay attention to your husband's wife who's pregnant with something that could replace you.
Yeah. Deflection. Nice.
Exactly. I think that at least is a little bit of a sign that she's kind of taking his teaching a bit more. She's trying. She's not just going to sit by the sidelines entirely.
Well, what she did, the Boltons still answer to the Lannisters, don't they, in some respect, even though it was Tywin that's kind of slipping away. But she committed treason when she said that Tommen's a bastard.
Yeah.
Like, she put a lot on the line saying something like that. That's not something that you just throw down to win, your set of aces. That's something that can cost you your life.
But I also don't think it really matters in the long run, because, something coming from Winterfell at this point, it's been spread across the Seven Kingdoms. It was being yelled at Tommen when he tried to go confront the High Septon. Like, that, everybody kind of knows this at this point.
Well, but speaking of something that people didn't know, when Ramsay tells her that what Jon is now.
Yes.
That was such a great moment, because as when we were watching it, she's like, Maude goes, does she know? She doesn't know that. And then he was like, you didn't know, did you? Which is exactly, I watched it last night by myself. So as soon as that happened, I was like, I said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Because I think that is something where, okay, now she knows this. That's kind of in her back pocket as well. Where it's like, okay, there is someone else out there. I know that my brother is still out there if I need him.
See, I don't see it that way, because I think it's an interesting fact for her, but Sansa never liked Jon.
Oh, but she has no family now.
Yeah. No,
she's got someone on her side. She's looking for an ally. The only ally, sorry.
Ally. I would look for an ally. Well, but if you know anything about the Night's Watch, and I feel like she has to, since she was brought up as a Northerner, the whole point of joining the Night's Watch is you forsake your family. I mean, look at Aemon Targaryen. Like, he completely...
Yeah, but they're also there to protect everyone. And so it's like,
everyone.
And it's just a stone's throw.
Going down, she knows she can go to him, whether it's as her brother or just as the Lord Commander.
I agree. I think it was cool that she found out, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Even though it was from the worst possible source.
Well, and I felt like when he said it to her, he said it in a way that it was like meaning to be some kind of a jab, but I was like,
Isn't that helping her?
Yeah.
Your brother's alive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a half brother. Speaking of bastards,
Yeah,
not so bad now, are they?
Not only that, well, because I guess that's kind of where it's his own arrogance comes into play, where it's like, oh, your brother's a bastard. Guess what he did? He's Lord Commander now. I can still rise to power.
And she's going, well, that hope's gone. You've just given me another one.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Yep.
So on to the other army marching south from the wall, Stannis.
Well,
they're kind of in trouble.
Yeah. Winter's definitely coming.
Losing Northerners, losing sellswords. Everything's kind of going to hell.
Yeah.
It doesn't even look like they're going to make Winterfell in time.
And that again too is where I was like, timing.
Yeah.
When Stannis is like,
You left a while ago, buddy.
Yeah, he's like, if we go back the other way, we're gonna be there for years.
I was like, didn't you just leave there 2 days ago? Like, how long has it been?
A while. Well, yeah, and the snow. I mean, I have noticed that there's a lot of snow falling every time we go from the wall to Winterfell. They're saying the weather is bad. They're snowed in at the moment. But Melisandre, man, she is just going in extremes here. I think because she knows the future, and she knows that Stannis needs an army to fight the White Walkers, and I understand that's the big picture. Yeah. That's the end game, and to get there, she needs to sacrifice anyone and anything anyway to make it happen, and that just happens to be Shireen, Stannis' daughter.
Well, and that's always that, even with with super powered people in comics and things, where it's like, do you sacrifice the one for the many?
Yeah.
You know, where it's like,
the greater
do
good.
we sacrifice this one girl to save everyone because the White Walkers are coming and you need a massive army? And I loved the fact when she starts talking about, what she's seen, that I saw myself walking the battlements of Winterfell. And, that was like, those are things that Stannis hasn't seen, but she was like, you did see stuff. I showed you things.
He's questioning everything.
Yeah.
And clearly she has no issue sacrificing one for the many at all.
No.
But I think her visions are always really interesting to me, because for me, I'm always like, well, is that actually what you saw? Or is this just your interpretation of what you saw? So for stuff like where she said, I saw the flayed man banners falling to the ground, I'm like, cool, that's pretty definitive. Awesome. Cool.
Also, I like that Stannis goes for an ass grab when she's saying that. I was like, that was random, but okay.
I was like, well, you did get laid the last time you needed a shadow baby, so I get it. But now it's all about the king's blood. And by the way, where did this jump come from? I was like, apparently leeches were all right for Gendry, but now all of a sudden we gotta kill Shireen?
Yeah, that part was kind of interesting, because all of us, as we were talking about, I was like, when did she say she had to kill her?
Yeah.
It just seems to be the implication.
Yeah.
I've got two things about this. One, I'm guessing because they're marching into war that they don't have a stock or a supply of leeches, because last time it was used, it was at their castle. And two, I'm surprised that Melisandre hasn't played that your daughter is damaged goods card.
But she doesn't feel that way about her.
She doesn't feel that way. She specifically defended Shireen against that, though.
Yeah.
Of, grayscale doesn't matter to the Lord of Light.
Right.
She doesn't care. It's the blood that runs in your veins.
You need an argument to be like, we need to kill your daughter. Like, you just can't say we need to for the greater good. You throw everything you've got. If you need it, this is the end of the world at stake here. Come on, man.
I think that for her, it's just knowing where all of those people are who have king's blood that's important. And if someone else was there, she may not have offered her up. But the fact is,
she's desperate.
They're where they're at, and that's all they have access to. And so she's like, all right. She's on the chopping block.
I mean, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, look, as abhorrent as I find it, slice her arm a little if you really need king's blood. Like, you don't need to kill her.
Oops. Oh, sorry, I sneezed with the knife in my hand.
If it's that important
maybe
to
she's
you,
trying to make an army of smoke monsters.
Something.
Though.
I mean, why?
That they
why
need more blood to do something.
Yeah. Why the sudden jump there?
Did we know why she wanted Jon Snow, whether he had his V plates or not? V card?
When she asked him if he was a virgin.
Yes.
And he says no, and she's like, that's good.
Yeah, what is
like,
that?
What?
Chat room right now. What's going on with that particular thing? Why does Melisandre want to bonk a guy who's done the deed already? What is it about it?
It has to be something about the smoke babies.
I would have just thought that the pure side of things would create an untarnished kind of...
Well, the king's blood thing for him for Jon is a whole other speculation thing entirely. But at the same time, I don't know why it mattered whether he was a virgin. So I'm with you on that.
We need some explanation.
I just want answers.
Come on.
Why doesn't she tell us everything?
Yeah. By the way, can we get back to Castle Black for a second?
You betcha. Let's
Hell
go there.
yeah, Sam finally got laid.
Yes, he did. Take a bow, buddy, if you can. Wait, you're kind of beaten and broken.
The crap beaten out of him.
Yeah. I watched that scene and I was like,
Ouch. Ouch.
Yeah, seriously. Ow. I was like, he just got kicked. He got kicked in the gut, I'm pretty sure, and punched in the face multiple times. Yes. She's like, hold on, I'm just going to climb on top of you. It's fine. You'll be fine.
We did survey the remaining males in the room and asked, we're like, well, if this had happened to you, would you still be cool with this chick climbing on top? And both of them are like, yeah, that'd be fine. No problem at all.
I love that Sam has to nearly die and take a huge beating for her to be like, now I'll do it.
But it was also because she saw that he does actually care for her in that way. Because I think up to this point, we like, everyone knows this. Everyone on the wall has taken a vow. They're not supposed to be with women. That's the end of the story. And so I think for her in this moment, it was him saying, stay with me, and showing that, yes, I do feel that way for you. And yes, I'm willing to break that vow that I made. I'm not saying so loyal to the wall. What?
What? Let's got another visual of the, oh my.
That was the best.
Oh, wow.
Oh my.
That's what that feels like.
No, what fuck you vows.
Oh gosh.
It's all good.
What did he actually say there?
Oh my.
Oh my.
He says, oh my.
Oh my. Oh my. Marcus Townsend is saying, did Gilly really say, am I hurting you?
She did.
She took care of his little Sam, says one.
God, that's
as he's supposed
funny.
to take care of her little Sam.
Yeah, the baby.
But she took care of his little Sam. Yeah.
Now, you probably don't care, those non-book readers, but in the books, they're not in Castle Black.
Nope.
There's like a whole journey where
they go to the Citadel.
Jon Snow sends away Gilly and Sam so that Sam can...
And Master Aemon. He's still alive at that point.
At that point. He's very, very old and senile, and it's like a horrible boat journey all the way through. But then I don't know what's going on with the baby situation.
Doesn't seem like they're going with that thread at all. Okay. I think that's actually her baby. They haven't even touched on it.
And I also think that, like, though I have not read the books up to this point, if there was another place we had to go right now, like if they were like, hold on, Sam and Gilly are over here, here's a whole nother cast of characters. Like, I think that what they do so well, and I mean,
they just don't want to change the opening credits again.
It's well, but it's also like, how many more places could we actually have in an episode? We've had episodes where we're like, wait, we didn't see this person, and wait, we didn't see this person, and then it's like, hold on, we need to explain a whole new setup of how this place works, who these people are, if they know this person, who they're related to. And I just think in a book it's much easier to explain a lot more of that stuff than it is on television. Because I'm sorry, I don't need another place right now.
That's very fair. And I don't remember where the Citadel is in relation to everything else. Is it in Bravos?
Old Town near Bravos, because they had to stop via there.
So it's near Arya, essentially.
Yes.
And to be fair, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in the show. I mean, for all we know, because it has sort of been hinted that Sam and Gilly need to get the hell off the wall before something really bad happens. So they may still go to the Citadel and they may meet up with Arya at some point. But at least, like, we kind of know Bravos just via her.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
They're condensing a lot. There's been a lot of chat about how they're just combining characters, or they're just completely,
which I do like.
Yeah, and when it works very well. I actually saw this great meme, and if someone could tweet it, use the hashtag The Night Is Dark, or tweet it at one of us. There's a meme going around where it was like all of the character, the plot developments that they just completely abandoned. And you've got the priest of the Lord of Light. What's his name?
Thoros of Myr.
The guy who got stabbed by Hound.
Well, Thoros is the one who brings them back. Beric Dondarrion?
That's him.
Jesus, I've read these books too many times. Oh, God.
Beric Dondarrion.
Right?
Gendry's still rowing away.
Yeah, Gendry's still rowing in a rowboat somewhere.
There's just all these plot lines that they've just gone, Another one said Osha? Osha?
Yeah.
Like,
well, we knew the beginning of this season, they said Osha and Bran we weren't going to see at all this season.
Rickon? Remember him?
Who? What?
Shaggy Dog?
Where was he the last time we saw him? I don't know.
So that's a really, really fun
He's going to come back as like a 25-year-old.
Yeah, time. No one knows
but
what
that's
happened.
the thing is that they are kind of laying the groundwork for that they can do time jumps, and it's okay. Like, though it feels a little bit weird in moments, it's like it could be, all that stuff that happened at King's Landing, it was actually like 3 years of time.
Sure.
Oh, by the way, they had commented before that Marcella was shipped off season 2.
Yeah.
Oh, that was that long ago.
Yeah,
so that would make sense for
years.
Wow, that happened ages. Okay.
Yeah, that's why
I thought they had just happened. You're right. No.
So now that we're talking about Micella a little bit, let's get into the sand snake business.
Sandstorm.
Yeah.
I said as soon as we started doing the arm.
Yeah. As soon as we started the show, I was like, dang it. I really do miss Ken being here because I wanted to hear him talk about Sam getting laid and the sand snakes.
Yeah.
Finally.
Great boobs.
God.
How can I get a date with the sand snakes? Ken said.
Yes.
That whole
Compliment
scene,
women, apparently.
Yeah, just tell them they're the most beautiful women in the world.
And you're set. It's cool.
Beautiful girl in the world.
I'm so happy. All of it. Assuming the antidote works, how happy are you that Bronn's not actually going to die? I was so worried.
Mind you, when he started singing, I was like, don't sing, because you're gonna die.
Yes.
That was a lovely moment. You're gonna die. This is what's been happening. But yeah, the antidote happened.
Wait, I'm sorry. You thought it was a lovely moment that he's singing about tasting a Dornish woman.
Well, was that the same song that he'd done the previous episode and then never got to finish? Or was that a totally different song?
That I don't know.
Because there was a whole thing of like, the ending's the best part.
Maybe that was it. Maybe he was
never got to. He was finishing the song. Yeah. It's entirely possible.
He had a beautiful voice. Maybe it was not a beautiful sentiment
with that '80s boy band that he was in.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But that's the thing. I was like, they want him to sing because he can, and it needs to happen before his character gets.
Yeah.
I thought that the Sand Snakes would have used that situation to their advantage better instead of just to fish a compliment.
Yeah. This is something I guess for
great boobs.
I hate saying this though, but for book readers where it's like. Are the three of them best boobs I've ever seen a lot more?
I'm so sorry. They're like the best boobs I've seen in such a long. And there's a hashtag going sand snake boobies.
They are fantastic breasts. I mean, let's be honest.
Oh, they are very beautiful women for sure.
Yep.
What were we saying?
In the books, are the three sisters like fleshed out a lot more as to like is there more flesh?
Well done. Well
yeah,
played.
Fleshed it out.
Well played.
But seriously, where it's like the two of them, the other two seem like okay, she always does this. She always resorts to I'm going to show my body. And the other two are like, oh geez, here we go again.
Here we go again.
Yeah, so
completely.
Are they like? Do they have those character traits?
In the book?
In more detail for each girl.
I mean, the weapon that they have is very kind of in true with their personality. Like, she has 2 daggers.
They are initially described that way, but it's not like you ever get a chance to see them exercise it, from what I remember of the books. And I don't even remember if it's that particular sand snake because all 3 of them kind of look alike to me.
Okay.
So even though in the book, I'm sorry, I'm racist. Apparently all Dornish women look alike. They're all gorgeous, but they all look alike.
So they should look alike.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to need to see a breast-to-breast comparison before I see. Anyway, I was sort of surprised that they just were like, yeah, here's the antidote.
I was
That's
like,
fine.
hey, we're in prison. We are locked up. We've seen you fight. You know, we can either just hate on each other because we don't know who is a better swordsman or whatever, or swordswoman in this case, or a spearswoman, whatever.
Person.
But it should be like, hey,
wielder,
let's be in this together. We can't do that with you dead. So here, I'll give you your life if in return for freedom.
But it makes no sense. That literally made no sense that she saved him, aside from the fact that maybe she thinks he's hot, which is a lame reason to save someone. Because they're there to save the person that they want to kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They both are. They've got the common cause. Oh, no.
They don't.
They've got the opposite.
Yes.
They don't want to work together.
That's why it makes no sense. That to me made, again, I said that made no sense, but it made no sense.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense to actively kill him now that he's not trying to really save Myrcella, but at the same time, it doesn't make any sense to save him.
Why, if they had already laid that ground? I mean, that's what.
You know what? Maybe she just wants to get laid when she gets out of prison.
Why poison your blade if you don't want them to die from it?
Exactly.
Seriously.
She went, damn it.
She wanted them to die.
Yeah. And then, you just said I'm beautiful, so here.
And then the other, I mean, I hate to harp on about the breasts, but you know how sometimes Game of Thrones will just go, oh, quick insert, stage left. Do you think this was an appropriate use of nakedness?
The whole scene didn't make any sense to me, naked or not.
Yeah, it didn't make sense at first.
It was like she's taking a top of pan, sweeping, they're still naked.
Yeah.
Quick, look at it again. It's like, we get it. You are showing us her titties.
And she was trying to get something from him besides saying she's beautiful, because that doesn't seem like enough of a reason for me. But then that would make sense. But otherwise, I don't get it.
And we said during the show that it was trying to get his blood flowing, to get his heart rate to go up, to pump the poison through. But if she's trying to
die,
it makes no sense.
I mean, apparently a drop of poison doesn't even have to get in your bloodstream. It just has to touch your skin and you're dead.
She needed the poison to go through his body to make it react.
So that's the thing. So she's killing him just to save him, but like, why? And I get the seducing thing. Like, we've all played Dungeons and Dragons, and if you're in a tricky situation, you have a female character, you're like, oh wow.
There's a comment that says Tyene was earning Bronn's loyalty to their cause. I don't think so.
No way.
Bronn is not loyal to them in any way, shape, or form now. I mean, admitting that she's the most beautiful woman.
Then they don't have money. That's the only thing he cares about. If you can pay him.
Yeah.
And they're not trying to offer him any money.
It would have made more sense that Bronn was under the impression that this gorgeous woman with incredibly good breasts is seducing him, and he's like, why? What's happening? And then she's like, oh, no, this is the last thing you're ever going to see.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
To have him die, and she seduced him to speed up the process.
Our kind of whole thing was like to get his blood flowing a little bit more. It's the only thing that kind of made sense, but then it doesn't make sense to save him. So
it really doesn't for just a compliment.
Again, I repeat, that scene made no sense.
Hashtag.
And it's only, I love the fact that we have an all-female podcast as well tonight, because we're here going, does not make sense, and every guy is like going, what scene are you talking about?
I'm not taking away from the fact that she has beautiful breasts, she's a beautiful woman.
Every guy
not
watching,
taking anything away from that.
Yeah, there was a character point to that, because damn. One saying that they're just not enemies though, but they fought against each other.
They were enemies. They are enemies. Yes, they know that they're enemies.
They're fighting each other. He was
there to try and take Myrcella back to King's Landing. They were there to kill her.
Well, to be fair, he was there to help Jaime because Jaime promised him a better house and money. I think if the Sand Snakes promised him better, he'd probably switch sides, no problem. Just saying.
I don't know.
Well, let me put that another way. If they promised him better lands, money, and boobs, he'd probably switch sides. So 1 out of 3 already.
So we lighten things up a little bit when we not only go to Dawn, but Slavers Bay. And I don't mean that in terms of like things are going really, really well. I mean that it's not snowing and dreary and horrible.
So sunnier.
Jorah and Tyrion are getting sold.
Oh my gosh.
And again, you've only got Tyrion, who can usually use his words to get out of situations. This time, he beat a guy who was inept of fighting back. This was a skinny guy in Sam Tarly's body. I haven't seen.
Yeah. Or no.
The other way around.
It's the whole, who's the son, the prince that sucked on his mom's boobs.
Robin.
Robin's like, Robin.
Yeah.
Which is what that guy did. He basically, he was Robin.
He just lay there and took it. We're like, really?
Well, would have been funny.
Grab Tyrion's ankle. You're fine.
What would have been quite clever if there was like a nail sticking out of the podium or something, and when he fell over, it kind of like went into his knee, so he was kind of trapped down there.
Well, I think it was the only explanation that I can have for that scene is that it's like it was unexpected. They don't expect someone like Tyrion, a little person, to be able to do what he did, and so it was like, wait, what? I'm laughing at you, and then he pulled the chain and whatever. Now he's on the ground. So.
I mean, I guess, but it's like the same guy who was just whipping Tyrion. So you've got to figure he has experience with slaves and possibly people.
The only other part of it could have been is that guy was working with the guy selling, and he's like, if I let him beat me up, he'll sell for a higher price than he would if I kicked the crap out of him.
Doesn't really translate to dollars. This is smart.
Why wouldn't it? If you're like, look at that guy, how big he is, and this little guy can kick his butt.
Communicate that with him looking up at the guy and the other guy giving him stern eyes going, take it. Like,
and I think this is just a case of, screw it, let's just get to the next scene. You know, like, let's just move. Like, fine, Tyrion's got to go with Jorah. Cool, let's just, whatever.
ABC, let's hit those points. Doesn't matter how it gets there. It can kind of make a bit boobs.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But I also like seeing Tyrion in a position sometimes where he can't use his words, where it's like he did have to step up and come up with something new, and then he tries to use his words with that guy, and he's like, oh, by the way, I've heard that if you use slaves that they exactly. So it was like he was trying to do what he can do, and in this situation he couldn't really use what he's used to using, which I liked.
Although I was full on expecting Tyrion to use the chain to start strangling the guy too.
Oh yeah.
And the fact it didn't happen, I was like, really? But that's your skill set, dude.
Oh, touche. But usually it was silks. Daenerys and Dario. I love seeing them together. It's very beautiful.
I don't trust
That was
him.
Maude's scene where she goes, what's happening?
Don't trust him. Don't trust him.
So both of you, and this is a chat room discussion that we'll have as well. You don't trust Dario.
Nope.
No.
I think let's look at his history. He had it was him and 2 others that led kind of like the sellswords and the mercenaries.
The second sons.
But he beheaded both of them to prove his point and love to Daenerys.
But he wasn't in love with her then.
But she was the most beautiful thing he's ever seen, and that was enough.
Well,
and now
great,
he's like going to Pound
but...
Town with her. Like I think he wants to help her.
I just feel like everyone, yeah, you do. I feel like everyone has an ulterior motive in Westeros in this world. I don't know.
He wants her.
I don't know though.
He was like, marry me.
That was like literally that moment for me was usually where you'd say it. I hate saying stuff like this, but it was like such the girl moment where it's like, but marry me. I did really not expect it from him. Yeah.
It's just so weird. I don't get him.
He doesn't want her to marry someone else, and like he wants to have all of her.
But he doesn't. Does he actually care like about her in that way that he doesn't want to share her? I feel like it's interesting because as the episodes go on more and more, he does start telling her more and more things that even though she says, like I'm not going to do that, most of the time she ends up doing the things that he says. And so I'm like, who actually sent him? We already know that Jorah was a spy sent in. There's a possibility that Dario's a spy sent in from someone, and we just don't know yet.
And to be fair, is that the fact that we don't really know his motives or like, does he actually love her? Is that a failing of the character's writing or the failing of the actor?
No, I think that we're supposed to not know.
So we're supposed to just not know what his intentions are. Yeah. He's supposed to be playing both sides.
We haven't had backstory on him. So I like
we've had it with Bronn, we've had it with Stannis. We kind of go back into them further and further.
Though I'm not as in love with him as you are. I like the fact that he's mysterious, that we don't know his story, that we're waiting to see. Because every time he does say stuff, I'm like, what? Is he trying to manipulate her, or is he just like saying what he thinks she needs to hear?
I don't have any of those things going through my head. But
you're like, he has his shirt off.
I did notice that he was like, you don't want to take my advice. I get it, but can I give it to you anyway? Yeah. I'm noticing that, but I don't think he's like got the puppet strings out.
But I think he does understand the political, aspects of this marriage. What?
In the chat room, Bartimus ATL has said, has anyone heard the theory that Dario is actually Benjen Stark? What? Wait, just because there's 2 beards on people's faces?
No, I have never heard this theory.
I haven't heard that one either.
He got a tan.
I've heard the theory of like cold hands was Benjen, and that's not even in this show. No.
Billa, Dario's backstabbing and manipulative. Carlos, he's a sellsword. So who's paying? I thought Daenerys was paying him now.
Well, no, she's sleeping with him, which is
he's on her payroll.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
I mean, sleeping with him and paying him. Good
or does she just give him like a space to be? Like he just gets to live there and be with her.
My only thing is his main motivation seems to be kill the masters. Kill all the masters in the city. So, I mean, because he keeps harping on that, I'm like, okay, well, are you really asking this for her good, or is there something you're getting out of this?
Well, and I think he had a great line, and we already did the quotes episode, but I was like, when he says, when you're a ruler, you're either the butcher or you're the meat.
Yeah.
And that, I think he knows a little bit too much about the politics of being a ruler than a guy like him should.
Well, I think he knows the politics of rulers that he's experienced thus far, but Dany's trying to be a different type of ruler.
But how does he have so much experience with rulers?
Well, probably because he's
just a mercenary,
hasn't he? Before
he lived through the fighting pits. Did he earn his own freedom through that?
I thought he had.
Yes, he said he did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not blinded by his naked body like some people.
Do you remember when they're outside the city of Meereen or wherever it was, Pentos, and I can't remember because I'm talking about Dario, but
Astapor?
Yes, and they sent out the guy on the horse to challenge him as the champion.
Yes.
Yeah, right? And then he was like, "I'll take him."
A different person.
No, the champion.
Oh yeah.
And he was just like, "Oh, dead." And I was like, oh, wow. So this guy's skilled with the sword.
Oh, God.
Move it on.
Moving on to more stuff with Dany, though. We haven't talked about the big gift of this episode, which is Tyrion Lannister.
Yes.
But the scene with Jorah in the pits where he's he doesn't get to actually come out and fight. The moment where he finally sees Dany again for the first time, which again, I'm like, maybe it's been years, according to the Game of Thrones timeline.
Yeah. Seriously, when did he get exiled?
I don't know.
I feel like
it's had to be a long time.
It was got to be back in season 2, 3. That was 3 maybe.
Hold on,
because let's see.
Tyrion got exiled?
No. When Jorah got exiled, because she had her dragons.
Last season.
Was it just last season, or was it 2 seasons ago? Sorry.
Well, they'd already taken Meereen.
It was just last season.
They'd taken Meereen.
Yeah. So it probably was.
She was sitting on the pyramid top thing.
But that just the whole where he comes out and he's like, okay, I know she's here. I need to get her to pay attention to me again. And he just like takes everyone out. It also reminded me of an episode of Spartacus. If anybody watched Spartacus,
Gladiator. Are you not entertained?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And then he goes up and takes his helmet off, and when he looks at her, there was that split second where you think she's gonna be like, Jorah.
And no.
Yeah. That's not what happens. That's not how it goes down.
Hell hath no fury.
Get out of my sight.
But the way that scene ends is Tyrion getting, first of all, released by someone who we thought might kill him. And coming out and saying that I am the gift, I'm Tyrion Lannister. And so, again, we go back to episodes ago. Remember when he was like, I'm taking you to the queen, and you guys were like, which queen is he taking her to? And I was like, Dany, for sure. He's trying to earn his way back in. And I think it was going to work. I think it's going to work.
Can I just say that when I saw the two of them meet, I want them to be in like an old school TGIF
Dany and Tyrion
80s like sitcom Friday night show, like Full House.
Is that the
like
one that
a
starts
laugh
like
track?
Daenerys Targaryen.
Like, them writing a tandem fight together.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. I want it so badly. Just please somebody make that happen somehow. Oh gosh.
Now, we had a little bit of a glitch in the theory with the fighting pits. So we had the hubby was like, it's tradition that you have to stay, usually not for the lower rounds, but you need to be here. Does he know something?
That was a weird moment. I'm wondering if that was a mistake or if that was intentional.
It had to have been intentional.
Well, and two things though, because Dario says to her that you have just said you're going to marry the head of the Harpies.
What's his name again?
Huh?
Hizdar Zolorak.
Yeah.
But have we gotten any proof yet that he is?
None
okay.
at all.
So happened, and I was like, okay. So they're all on board with that because we'd all talked about that and said we were pretty sure he was the head of the Harpies.
Yep.
Sons of the Harpy.
It's definitely been an accusation so far.
And so then this situation comes up, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe he thought something was planned to injure her, to hurt her in some way, because
like
he's
throwing knife.
I don't know, because he's like, you have to be here, but then he was like, normally the queen doesn't come to these events, but it's tradition for you to stay the whole time.
She's like, I need to leave. No, you're not.
It was a little bit back and forth. So if for you guys watching, let us know in the chat room if you felt that too, or maybe we missed something.
Yeah,
like
that explained it a little bit better.
Hey, by the way, it's traditional for you to be here and watch this, and it was clearly a surprise to the slaver and be like, hey, oh my God, the queen's here.
Yeah, he freaked out and he was like, stand up straight.
It was just a little strange moment. So I don't know if there was anything behind that.
What's your take into that? Look, something that just popped up in the chat room, which has got me going, oh yeah.
What?
Varys?
Yeah.
Where's he?
Well, that's what I said. I still think that he saw Jorah. Like, my theory is that he saw Jorah take Tyrion, and he was like, cool, I'll let him take him because he'll get him to Dany faster than I will.
Is he still heading to Meereen though?
I would assume so.
What's he gonna do?
I mean, Varys can't go back to King's Landing, obviously. So
he has to go he has to go to Meereen because one, if he believes that if he saw Jorah take Tyrion, then he needs to be there because he would be able to corroborate that yes, Tyrion's here to help you and he's not a spy.
He's taking his damn time though.
Well, I mean,
in Varys' world, what's his best move right now? He wants
He's going
to
by
control. Yeah, he wants to control the throne. He wants, at this point, Daenerys to be on the throne. So he has to go to Meereen, whether or not he has Tyrion.
But does he really? He doesn't want. I don't think Varys wants control of the throne. I think he just wants someone in power that is not a crazy cuckoo bird.
But his best bet for that right now
is Dany.
Dany. So I think like him going to Meereen is still going to be his best bet. He's probably going to meet up with Tyrion and all of them there.
Yeah.
That has to be his move at the moment. So we just haven't seen it yet.
Well, they're both still alive. Which is pretty, that's
surprising.
Something, especially when Tyrion and Jorah are now technically owned by someone, they're slavers. What's going to happen though? I mean, this is the thing. Daenerys straight away is just like, get him out of my sight. And it's like, but he's actually a slave, which you've, enforced that can't be. Like, I don't know.
But they're not slaves, because even though that guy gave them money, and when he said it, he's like, this will last you your lifetime, because he's assuming they're going to die in those pits, like in the first fight. So he's like, cool, I paid you, whatever. But Dany could take them out. She could do whatever she wants with them. Slaves or not.
I'm looking forward to the first conversation between Dany and Tyrion.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Cannot wait.
A conversation that I was waiting for to happen happened at the very end of this episode.
Olenna, High Sparrow?
Well, Olenna and High Sparrow, yes, loved that, but we'll have to talk about that. But Cersei and High Sparrow, the conversation that happened in this episode. But let's backtrack and talk about Olenna and
first,
High Sparrow
for
first.
sure.
So Olenna realizes that Cersei's got the upper hand in this situation, and so Olenna comes in with all tongue, using it like a spear. Then she's
That's
like,
what it sounds like.
And it's like, she's all right, what do we have to do? We don't like Cersei. You know, this is wrong. I have 2 children. You know, you're all about equality, but you're focusing on my, grandchildren, in particular. Obviously, there's more to this than meets the eye. What do you want? Do we want it? Can I bribe you? Can I change the rules anyway? I will stop she completely blackmailed him. I'll stop the crops from coming. Everyone will starve.
Yeah.
She was throwing out everything that she had, and he was like, bump, 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 deflect. And she's like, there's more of us than there are of you.
He says, what happens when the many don't fear the few?
Other way around. Right? Or no, you're right.
When
no,
the many stop fearing the few.
Yeah. My bad.
And he didn't even flinch.
Yeah.
He was like, really? You're going to threaten King's Landing starvation right now? But you got nothing. You got no idea what you're talking about.
He is truly one of the scariest characters for me so far, because he is a true fanatic. He loves the faith, and that's it.
No one has secrets on him.
No one has secrets on him.
Someone's gonna have to.
He can't be bribed by money.
Can't be bribed. Can't be threatened. He has pure faith, and this is what's right, and this is what it says. Well, and that's what and that's the thing, and that's what the show is gearing up for.
Yeah.
But I mean, so far, yes, I think that's what it's going to, and I think that is the part that Cersei hasn't really seen. And kind of gets told later, at the very end of the episode, and gets shown is like, guess what? No one's above this.
Yeah. Well, and I loved just lightening the spirits a little bit. I loved the moment between them where he's coming up and she's like, why don't you kneel before me? And he's like, it's the knees. How about for you? And she's like, my hips.
So great.
I love those, even in the moments where it's, this serious play of who's going to be in the higher position, who has more power, they're like, yeah, we're old. Which is also why he's scarier as well, because it's like, when you're an older person, I forget what I was watching, but where it's like you hit 70 and you don't care what you say. You can say whatever you want. Nobody cares anymore. You don't think about it. You just say what you want.
Yeah.
And that's the situation where it's like he doesn't have anything that would really hold him back that we know of yet.
But what's his forward vision? Is he trying to, we've got here one saying, is he trying to cleanse King's Landing? What's his agenda? And is it faith, or is he playing the game?
I think his end game is in that final scene when he's talking to Cersei and he's like, this chapel was built, there's no names on anything. This like the stone thing that he was saying got etched. There were no names in it. Not like the other chapel that has names all over it, that he wants it to be completely simple and pure. And I think that is what he's trying to do.
Stripping everything back.
I'm stripping everybody who may have a highborn name away, and I just want it to be, we're all on a level playing field.
I agree, which is the scariest thing ever.
Because I mean, Olenna said it in a way.
Well, and Olenna said it. She said, everyone in the city is a sinner, essentially. Like you're literally living with rapists and murderers and liars. Like that is your people right now. Well, there's nobody who isn't a sinner.
I did think about, though, when she was saying that, I was like, Tommen hasn't done anything.
But Tommen was born of incest.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. He doesn't get punished for that.
I actually wrote it. Tommen is the purest in the city.
Yeah, he hasn't done anything. And I mean, I don't know what the rules say.
The 7-pointed star. Can you get a quote on what it says about children born of incest?
I think it would be punishment for the people who had him, but not for Tommen.
I would hope not, but I don't know.
I love the power play that we had again. You've got the oldies going out with their words, but then you've got the battle of the beauties.
The oldies. The oldies versus the beauties.
So Cersei visiting Marjorie in the jail just to rub it in, just to be like, look where you are and look where I am.
Again, that scene with Tommen and Cersei, though, like,
I love
there
that
are
scene.
moments where you think yes, she does actually believe the things she's saying about wanting to keep her son happy and keep him safe. They are the most important thing to her. But at the same time, what does that actually entail? It makes you feel like, okay, Cersei's like, yes, I want you to be happy, but you don't actually know what's going to make you happy. I do.
She's so protective of him, and her heart broke when Tommen said, I love her. I'm in love with her. She was like, oh, that's something she could never compete with.
I thought that was more her being like, I wish that I had that. Where it was like, there was a chance that maybe she was going to go in and actually try to help him with her. And then she goes in and you're like, no, not gonna happen.
No, I kind of felt like Maude felt with that, where
she's been trying.
I just look for the best in everyone.
Sorry, I feel like Cersei was going with it, where no, your love belongs to me, not this beautiful woman who has sex with you all the time.
And it was so easy to control when she does coddle him and when he is younger. But as soon as he realizes that thing works and that girl will give it to him, it's like game over. She's like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah.
And I think when he's like, I love her, she's the one I'll fight for.
Yeah.
I'll fight you for her. That's when she's like, I can't win.
I did kind of think it was a moment of like this way that he's willing to go to task and willing to do anything to save Marjorie. I felt like there was a moment with Cersei where she just wasn't sure that he would do the same for her, and that made her heart break.
Yeah.
So I did feel
she's
bad
not
for
number
her for that.
one.
Yeah.
in her son's eyes anymore.
Well, and it was interesting because we had that a couple episodes ago when Cersei goes to talk to Marjorie when they first get married, and she's like, anything you need, and she walks away. And I was like, guys, I really feel like she was actually being nice for a second. You're like, no,
she was.
We have like a very like kind of other side of the mirror moment again, where she goes to talk to Marjorie this time, and she leaves, and she has the smuggest look on her face.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, I like want those two scenes cut together, where it's like, here's this one scene, her walking away, door closed, then this one where it's like her walking away, door closed.
Her face is so smug, it should fall off. I was angry watching her face.
I mean, it was I felt like just taping it and replaying it over and over, be like, okay, smug, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
There's just, oh my gosh.
She thinks she's winning. She's like, haha, I've got your brother, I've got you.
Yeah.
I've got this guy who's playing, this game better than anyone. He's on my team.
Just got lipped.
Yeah.
And she's been sitting here braiding. The High Sparrow is this finely woven braid that she's just been letting happen, and it's a noose that they've pushed her into, and they're pulling it tight.
Well, and it's those moments too where it's even with the comparison to Sansa, where Sansa's thinking she's getting things into place and trying to play her cards and being like, yes, I've got myself in this position. Oh, listen, you're a bastard, whatever. And then
2 steps forward, 7 steps back.
And then in this case, it's like Cersei's like, oh, yes, like I listen to everything that you say, High Sparrow. Like, oh, I'm so glad that everything will be stripped away from the Tyrells. We'll see who they truly are. And he's like, what's going to happen when we strip everything away from you?
Well, this is the thing. She's been so consumed by bringing down Marjorie. That's been her number one goal. And she puts her visors on and she can't see anything else. If you go back to every conversation the High Sparrow has, he's saying no one is better.
Yeah.
The Queen won't be able to, bounce back from this. And every time he's saying, and this is you as well.
Yeah.
This will happen with you.
I think it all just goes back to, I don't think Cersei thinks she's ever done anything wrong. I think everything she's ever done, from killing Robert to sleeping with Jaime to everything, has been justifiable.
But I also think, and I feel like I've said this from the beginning, but I'm like, the Jaime and her thing that everyone's like, oh, they slept together. I'm like, in old times, historically, that happened.
And by the way,
like,
the Targaryens do that too.
Yeah, so I'm like, that part of it is the incest. It was to keep bloodlines pure. I'm not saying that it's normal or cool or go ahead and do it now, but I'm like, when we talk about doing that, when we talk about the show and it's like, oh, there's incest, that's so like dangerous and bad. I'm like, I don't know if that it says in that.
It is. It's very, very frowned upon.
But like, when did that happen? When did that change?
When the Targaryens got mad. And that was always frowned upon. Every other house was like, oh, and they are forced to sleep with brother and sister to
cousins and
keep
everything.
the bloodline going. And they were like, that's wrong.
It's never been totally okay by the rest of the realm, but they had dragons.
If
so what are you going to say?
for a guy to sleep with a guy, like, then incest, I think, it's definitely up there.
But yeah, I agree. I don't think Cersei thinks that she has done anything that's so far over a line, because for her, everything she's done has been to protect her family.
Yeah. Even though she's the one that has literally done the most to destroy it.
Yeah.
I think we all kind of came to the same conclusion when Lancel a couple of episodes ago was just like, don't worry, I've seen the light and I'm cleansed for all the sins, but even though I know exactly what you've done. She was like, okay, great, that's dealt with.
Yeah.
No. Why didn't you kill him?
Yeah. He showed up and he's like, I'm so sorry for everything that we did, like for this and for when we got him drunk and then we slept together. And I'm like, stop. Why are you saying those things out loud? Just pretend like they never happened. No one ever needs to hear it. And I'm like, she is going to kill you. And then she didn't. And now this episode rolls around and I'm like, dang, she wishes she killed him a couple episodes ago.
Like, literally the next scene should have been someone slicing that guy's throat, because otherwise, I'm sorry, he's dead. Yeah, just everyone. Which again, he's going to take down everyone.
It's her not being able to see outside of the Marjorie realm.
She's
it's just
consumed by
that
it
she
all.
missed that, because I think if she wasn't just focused on that one thing, on this, like, it's not, and that's the thing that's not protecting her family. It's just, I don't want to lose to this girl.
You know what it is? Like, this is how everyone's comparing her ruling to Tywin. Tywin wasn't fueled by emotion.
Yeah.
Tywin never got lost into the heat of a moment. Tywin knew the big picture. He knew everything that was happening, and he knew how to control and manipulate the situation. Cersei always knew she could manipulate, but she did it in a way that was fueled by lust and emotion.
Well, and family, because I don't think Tywin would cut off one of his son's arms if it would keep the name in power. It wasn't actually
Tywin
about
disowned
the
his
person.
third son.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a full, like.
So it's like for her, it's, I don't even think it's necessarily emotion, but, well, I guess you could say love for your family, but true love for your family.
No. And in
Crazy
one generation, the entire Lannister name just went crashing down.
So what's going to happen to King's Landing now? If they put Cersei behind bars, it's Tommen.
This was also what was really weird, too, because she says, I'm the queen, when she was getting taken away. And you're like, no, you're not.
You haven't been for a while.
You have not been the queen. Yeah. So it was really interesting that that was her, like, final moment as she's getting dragged away. And then she
felt like she was indestructible. She's invincible.
Yep. And then she says to that girl, she's like, look at my face. It's the last thing you're going to see before I kill you.
And you're like, yeah, whatever
before
you say,
die.
lady.
Yeah.
It's the amount of self-deception is amazing. I don't think that scene came as a surprise to anybody except Cersei.
What is going to happen to King's Landing?
I think Tommen's going to stay in power. I think Littlefinger...
He can't rule.
Littlefinger is going to come in.
I think Littlefinger's going to come in.
Tommen is... as much as he could be, he's a kid. So, but I do think it's Littlefinger that's going to come in. And I also think Littlefinger and Lady Olenna are going to come in together. And because they showed in this episode that they are willing to work together still. Mm-hmm. They were the ones who took Joffrey out.
And they knew about Lancel. Yeah. It's like I've got a young, handsome man that's going to unravel all of Cersei, and that was Lancel. Yeah. So he delivered that in a way.
And the realm is already against Tommen. Mm-hmm. You've seen so
bastard, da-da-da.
All of that. I mean... it's ripe for Dany to come in. That's all I'm saying.
Also, when Jaime comes back from Dawn and finds Cersei in a cell, how do you think he'll react?
Well,
does he even care anymore?
Is he going to come back from Dawn anytime soon? Is he going to come back before she goes to trial? We don't know.
It could be years.
He's also Game of Thrones time. Yeah.
I mean, we don't know. He's also not in a position to just leave Dorne anytime he wants to right now anyway.
Which, by the way, can we contrast, just a quick thing, Bronn being kept in a cell next to the Sand Snakes and Jaime just kind of hanging out in this nice apartment waiting for Myrcella to come visit.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that scene.
Not at all, but I just remembered that.
Yeah. It was such a teenage bratty moment where
you don't even know me.
She's like, I've been here for years and I love him and you don't even know. Bye.
Yeah. But I was just watching that and I was like, Cersei? Oh,
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
But the thing is, you can't rescue someone that doesn't want to leave.
No. Yeah.
Which is exactly what's happened.
But that's why it didn't... that moment for me, I feel like Jaime was just like, she's safe because she's my daughter, not really my niece.
No.
But he doesn't really explain to her the situation. He just says, your mom's worried about you. It wasn't, hey, those 3 girls that were here, they were going to kill you.
Yeah. I don't understand why that didn't come into the scene at all. It just sort of seemed a little useless. Like, why even do it besides for her to have her bratty moment? I would be like, no, by the way, those 3 girls, your mother killed their father, and so you're dead. We need to go.
I've caught up.
Oberyn.
Yeah.
I like the fact that Littlefinger and Lady Olenna, when they combine forces, they'll be Ladyfinger. Thank you to Matt Brown for that
like
one.
a James Bond villain.
Best hashtag ever.
I like that one a lot. Get those questions in if you are watching live in the chat room, because we'll try and get to some of those. You guys are doing great with this at the moment. Another one is the church has unlimited power. It was instilled by Cersei. Who's to say that Tommen isn't just going to revoke all of that power?
Well, now it's like there's so much stuff in play already.
Yeah.
They have an army. They have weapons. It would be too hard for him unless he actually, like he said, went to war and took all of his soldiers.
Yeah, which is what he said
fight
he would
against
do.
them.
Yeah.
And the mountain's still floating around down in a dungeon.
Yeah, well, we haven't even gotten
lying
to that
around, having Frankenstein
twitches.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
The Franken Mountain, as Sapphire has said, will not show up this season, but said that Russell was saying that the mountain's a trick up Cersei's sleeve. Can she play this one at all?
That's the whole thing if it ever comes to trial, because technically he's still on her side.
But how would she play that on trial? She just needs him
Trial by combat. We know what's up.
But do they let you? Does the religion let you do trial by combat?
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing in the show, but yes, technically you can always have a trial by combat and advocate a champion.
Who do you think's going to be on the High Sparrow's hit list? Because he's taken out. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
He's taken out Cersei.
I mean, do you need to have anybody else?
Running a brothel.
Well, they already took down his brothel. Does the High Sparrow know he's back in
Probably
King's Landing?
But I don't think
he knows he's in King's Landing.
But does it matter to him? Like, I mean, he's got both queens, and
but it
the
should
queen's
matter
brother.
to him.
It sounds like a chess match.
If all he actually cares about is purifying the city, then yes, he would care. If he's looking to be the one in the position of the most power in King's Landing, then he wouldn't care.
It's just interesting to know. It's like, okay, well, you take down all these people. Who's your alternative? Like, who do you want to see in
No
power?
one.
At the moment, yeah, I can't. I mean,
He doesn't want
it's
anyone
setting
in
it
power.
up for Dany,
Yeah.
in a way. But was he around in the Targaryen era? Probably, huh?
Yeah.
Who is this guy?
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Who is he?
There's different.
He's not making it
speculation
sound
on
like
that.
he wants a king or a queen. He's making it sound like he wants it to be we're all the
Harmonious.
same.
Yeah, communism. Matthew Brown has said, what was the corkscrew all about that Sansa snuck?
Yes. Oh gosh, was that a corkscrew? I couldn't tell what it
Wait,
was.
what?
That thing that she snagged when she was walking along the battlements following Ramsay.
sitting on a barrel.
She snagged a thing. I couldn't tell what the thing
I
was.
thought it was a corkscrew.
But it looked like a stabby thing. That's all I care about.
Yeah, well, if Theon's not going to do it.
Was it prior to, when did that happen? Before Ramsay told her stuff or after?
It was during. Like
Okay.
when he summoned her and they were talking. It was
before the
he
reveal
showed
of the
her
lady.
the northern
Maybe
lady being
I
flayed.
feel like she thought maybe this is my moment to get a weapon. I can take him out. And then
Exactly.
he said stuff to her and she was like, oh God, this is not going like I thought
Yeah,
it was
Thank
going
God
to.
I grabbed the stabby thing. Honestly,
No, I think
like
that's not gonna cut it.
Yeah, I think it was crap. This isn't going to work right now.
No.
I'm going to have to come up with something a lot more mischievous and well thought out than this.
But I think it's still good that she has it. I mean, they don't show little things like that for no reason. For the same reason that they showed Bronn's arm getting sliced the last episode. You know, they clearly showed her grabbing a stabby thing.
Yeah.
So that's got to come into play at some point.
How did we rate this episode? What did you think? Because some people are saying that they're actually really disappointed by how this season's going. Others are like, hey, you know, don't rush things. It's going to come good. I think in comparison to that was not a pun, but I like that you giggled. Oh, Little Miss Innocent thought that was funny, huh? Anyway, in comparison to the other seasons, like especially when we had the
Last season.
the purple wedding, straight into the season.
Pink wedding?
Is there another wedding that we don't know about?
Please, let's have a pink wedding. Who's going to be in the pink wedding?
Marcella.
interesting.
Yeah, she was wearing a pink dress.
That's probably it.
She's the pink wedding.
But like 3 episodes in, when you see like someone
Joffrey
kill
die.
the king,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then in this episode you're like, so we're traveling, are we?
Look,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We haven't gotten episode 9 yet, all right? Like, give it some time.
This episode for me, I think, again, every week I'm like, this was the best episode of this season. Wait, this episode was the best episode. But this one literally was the best episode of this season so far. So
Stay
much
tuned next week.
happened. Yeah, because I'll probably say the same thing. But this episode, so much did happen. Yes, we're not getting people killed off in brutal, surprising ways that are main characters, which is what I think people are saying when they're like, this season is a lot slower paced. But the everything that happened in this episode, seeing Cersei get jailed, seeing Bronn get almost poisoned to death, seeing Tyrion and Jorah meet Dany. That was a huge moment. There were so many big moments in this episode that I think, Olenna and this High Sparrow, those moments were so big. They just weren't deaths.
Yeah, and I love those moments. I love seeing different characters kind of come together and actually talk it out, and you kind of getting little glimpses of each character's motivation, but not really. I loved seeing Dany and Jorah meeting again, and Tyrion getting introduced to Dany. Like, that's such a huge thing in this series, because keep in mind, this is, the season 6. Season 5, we've got 2 more seasons, guys. Like, they've got to start kind of wrapping it up and introducing these important characters to each other. And God, do I want Dany and Tyrion to be together at the end. Like, not together, but like together.
I just want more dragons. I think Daenerys Targaryen is my spirit animal, because seriously, where are my dragons? We saw that fleeting moment with Tyrion, so he knows the dragons are real, which is obviously going to propel him to want to help Daenerys even more so. But come on, where are they? What's going on?
She doesn't even know where they are. Well, one of them. The other 2 are still chained up.
I just love it at the end. Like, look, somebody...
What if she uses them, like when he's like, kill everybody when you have the big fight? What if she's like, okay, well, I'm not going to be a butcher, I'm not going to slice their throats.
Maybe my dragons
But my dragons be hungry.
That's what she did the last episode.
Gotta eat.
I love it. I just really love that something like that may happen at the end. She's going to use the dragons. They said it even before. I don't know if it's last episode or the episode before, but it's like, why do you love Dany so much? What makes you get behind her? And it's like, I saw her go into fire and come out unscathed with baby dragons.
Yeah, that was Jorah.
Beat that.
Yeah.
That I think is the heart of the series, and I love that they're actually getting these really compelling characters together finally.
It is the Song of Fire and Ice. We know that they're the White Walkers are ice, and we need our fire, so we know how this is going to end.
Well, and it's,
Get the dragons.
The whole reason everyone loves the show is because it surprises you all the time. If we had another season, and I said this at the beginning of this season, I was like, I hope they don't do like 2nd episode someone dies, 4th episode someone big dies, because that's what we're used to. So we haven't had kind of one of those seasons where it's like the final episode of the season is a major cliffhanger. Really, it's been cliffhanger is like 2nd to last episode, and then we get one more, and it's like, okay, just decompress and think on all of that. So I would be happy if there is something where it's like, hey, we've been like mixing it up, and this season we're actually going to do slow burn, massive final episode, and leave you with that.
I hope.
I'd be okay with it.
Everyone's just saying it's just strategic at the moment. It's just pushing everything into place until you go game on.
Yeah,
totally. And I love, thank God that the producers know the end game, and they're just sort of figuring out their own way to get to it.
Dangling some carrots here.
Thank God.
But I'm hungry.
The dragons are hungry too.
Yeah.
Dracarys, bitch.
Guys, that is The Night is Dark. Thank you so much for recapping and breaking down episode 7, The Gift, with us. If you want to continue the discussion, we are all on Twitter, at Maude Garrett, at Michele Boyd, at Tiffany's Tweets. If you've only just tuned into a little bit of the episode, the good news is the full thing will be available on Geek Bomb's YouTube channel. Just make sure you subscribe. That's better. Subscribe and like that video and comment and keep the discussions going on there. We've got bonus videos happening too, Tiff.
Yeah, you guys make sure you check out my YouTube page, Tiffany Smith, for the bonus videos every episode and full of terrors. Make sure you give a follow to I See the Frog as well. Thank you guys so much, as always, for letting us do the show here, and follow them because they always tweet when our show is coming on. Like this week, we know we're a day behind, but it was for the holiday, y'all. And then obviously, if you want the audio, check out the Napzok files on Podomatic, Stitcher, and iTunes.
Speaking of I See the Frog, they've actually posted up the link of the Game of Thrones, the musical featuring Coldplay.
Yes.
If you haven't seen that, you have to. I fell in love with
Reggae
Kit Harington.
Danny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, you love Reggae Danny.
Danny.
It was so good in that. Anyway, watch that one, ISeeTheFrog.com. I ship that so hard.
Ramsey, guys.
He looks like Gollum. Okay, he looks like, what is it, Frodo? Frodo and Gollum combine the two.
No, he does not. That is mean.
Kristen Bell tweeted a picture of that, which I retweeted, and I was like,
he does look kind of like Frodo. He does not look like Gollum.
Yes,
well,
he does. And John Mayer.
Yeah.
Give everything a like, follow, subscribe if you're watching live and you are on the live stream. Just click follow on that one as well. We will be back next week to break down another episode of Game of Thrones. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you then. Bye, guys.
Thanks for
the night is dark
and full of terrors.